Reggilar show. Today, we're kind of going to be talking about video game pricing.
Yeah.
Which that sounds kind of obtuse, obviously. But I think we both think it's a pretty important topic to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to start the discussion?
Yeah, this is something that was just super interesting to me. I don't know why it just came to us, but
we were talking about while we were eating sandwiches.
Yeah, Subway, man. And this is the weird thing. We were talking about how games need to kind of update their series, but it's like there's certain game franchises where it doesn't make too much sense. That you can do something weird with it and try to update the franchise, but why not make the same game in the series? And it's like, okay, well, back in the day that was worth $60 or however much it was full price back in the day, but nowadays it's not really worth $60. Like you were saying, you'd pay Skyrim is like a $60 game.
Right? Yeah, like, Skyrim is like 200 hours of content.
Yeah.
Something like, I don't say Rayman Origins, which is a good game. I wouldn't pay $60 for it though.
Yeah.
As good as it is. We were just talking about, I think video games need to kind of adopt a more versatile pricing approach.
Yeah. Like, big name companies are always thinking their titles need to be $60.
Right.
And it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Because when you look at, okay, like, you said Rayman Origins and, like, the Mario platformers, I paid $60. Well, it technically got on a sale, but I got a little money off of it. But let's just say I bought it for $60. I still probably would have. It's getting to the point where that's not worth it for, like, the new Super Series or the Super Mario 3D World, where they're not really doing anything different with it and there's not so much content. Because you can beat it in, like, 15 hours and you're done.
Right.
It's like, why do these have to still be $60? Because when you have these indie people making just as gorgeous looking games, just as tight in the controls and everything, for, at max, like, I've never really seen indie games go over $20. And they look gorgeous and they're great, and you get maybe 15 hours out of them. They're not super long games, but the pricing matches.
But they're also, because they're indie games, they're also budgeted.
Yeah.
Accordingly. And I think this is hurting the industry in a way in that you can't really do untested IPs.
Right.
If you throw out an 8-hour action adventure platformer type game that's kind of an untested IP, and then ask people to pay $60 for it.
Yeah.
It's hard to develop fan bases, I think, for stuff when you're not getting the game into people's hands. And I think if you budget games out accordingly, and you go, how much content is in this, then you need to price that accordingly.
Right.
Because we were talking about, this is something I don't know if I'd ever talked to you about this before, but we were talking about that EA's Project $10 thing, where they basically had $10 day one DLC, which basically what they wanted to do is they wanted to squeeze an extra $10 out of you when you bought a game. And they wanted to squeeze $10 out of people who bought used titles.
Right.
So we were talking about this, and this is kind of a thing. This wouldn't work for every game. Shut up. But, like, okay, say for instance, say you had a COD game, right? What if a COD game was $20 new?
Yeah.
But it was just a single player. And when you got home, if you wanted to play online multiplayer,
which you have to pay for anyway,
you would pay $30.
Yeah.
And then you get to play
all
online.
The maps, you get the online infrastructure.
And you can play local multiplayer as well with a $20 copy. So, like, maybe that seems bad if you're like, that seems stupid. But think about that as that you're still technically only paying $50 for the game, and if you don't want to play online multiplayer, you're only paying $20 for it.
Right.
That's not bad at all. Or if you just want to play it with your friends or whatever.
Yeah.
And
that also helped, like, the untested IP thing.
Right, and all 30 of those dollars they all go right to EA.
Right.
So, like, why not try stuff like that?
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't seem like that bad of an idea.
I mean, the used game industry's not going anywhere. You can attack as much as you want, but like these companies, why not work with them? Like,
Why, I think what you have to look at when you're talking about the used game industry is that why does it exist in such... Why is it so powerful?
Right.
Because you have used DVDs, you have used CDs, whatever, but they never gain that much power. It's because video games are so expensive.
Yes.
GameStop has built up around the game industry. Now I think the game industry, instead of just flailing around and going, oh, we need to get $10 from these people or whatever, you need to build around GameStop.
Right.
They need to approach this with some kind of intelligent response. They need to have some kind of plan. If it's hurting them that bad, which I don't think it hurts them as much as they say it does.
Because, like, and another thing, back on the, budgeting properly, like, you brought up the example of Resident Evil 6 when we were talking about this earlier. Right. That game was $6 million plus, and it sold fairly okay. It wasn't the greatest.
6 million copies. That's
right.
That's solid.
That was and then it didn't even make its money back.
That's ridiculous.
And then, like, with, it's the whole thing where, making new IPs and, like with Ubisoft, where they won't, if a series doesn't do well, they won't make it a new IP. Like, the whole $60 thing is hurting that. It's a vicious cycle.
Right.
Why not take experiments and do, like, a lower priced title? Like, Rayman, it's selling poorly, and they're hurting from that. And that's why, according to this, Legends was a Wii U, the Legends was Wii U exclusive in the first, and then they just pushed it back because it didn't sell well. And, I mean, it may or may not have, but why are you still charging $60 for it? Like, if it doesn't sell well, how about budget it accordingly, make it a normal price?
Yeah. Well, you just need to... Yeah, I think you have to look at the content. You have to look at... I think you're really going to have to... They're going to have to try harder in pricing.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to look at, okay, what is the genre? How much content is this? What do we think people would pay for it? Whatever. Because, if Rayman Origins is 30 or $40, a lot more people will probably pick it up.
Yeah.
And then you make your money back or whatever, which is what you're trying to do. So I think people just need to stop trying to squeeze as much money out of every single purchase as they possibly can.
Well, I also think that these companies have just built up an expectation. They're like, oh, I am Nintendo. I can set my games for $60. And actually, Nintendo can do that. But other companies like Ubisoft are like, oh, I'm a big company. Or,
right.
Yeah, I can sell my things for $60 no matter what it is.
I mean, because we were talking about the used games. Like, if the used games are hurting you so bad, why on stuff like Origin, why on stuff like eShop, why is this stuff the same as because that money's going straight to you when I buy digitally downloaded. Why aren't you trying to get me to do that?
Right.
Because it's the same freaking price. But it's the same price, yet it's worth less to me, and it's worth less to the publisher. Because the publisher didn't have to print up boxes or cartridges, and it's less value to me because I can't resell it.
Right. You can't share it.
I can't share it. I can't lend it to anybody. So why aren't those like $10 to $20 less? They feel like they should be.
They really are. And like, especially, I don't know, like, third parties working into this also have a big problem because they're dependent on the systems that they're trying to sell it on.
Yeah.
And then that breeds the whole, oh, well, these are the higher budget systems, so we're going to release it on this. And because it just doesn't make sense when you have, like, you have a game that's going to be released on Xbox and PS3 just because it won't sell well on the Wii U. Well, how about, I mean, I know there's programming issues with that, but if you actually budgeted it well, I mean, there's certain ones that work just better on those different consoles, but I'm sure you can put them on the Wii U and they actually would sell if they were priced accordingly. Because Nintendo, like, reigns the market on their consoles, sure, and they're hard to compete with. How about you compete with them? Because they're trying to sell their stuff for $60 a year, like their whole lifespan. And I don't know.
I mean, you wonder why people got, and some people, when people were getting pissed about the Xbone, where it was all going to be digital and stuff like that, and people were getting pissed, and other people was like, well, why? You know, why Steam does it? You know, this could be great or whatever. Consoles haven't earned that yet because you look at they do have digital stuff now, and it's the same freaking price.
Right.
So why am I to believe that all of a sudden it's going to become some kind of utopian wonderland where like we're going to get all kinds of cool Steam deals? They've never done that before because they're stupid. Because even though it makes sense when you look at it, you go, okay, sell this game for $40 as opposed to $60. But then companies like EA will go, well, where's my money? That's less money for me.
Right.
Because video publishers right now are very much, I need money now. We need it now. Mm-hmm. I need to make a return on my stuff now. It's these short-term gains they're concerned with. And what about the future? I mean, because the game industry is getting run into the ground.
It feels like price inflation. I feel like how there's economy things and stuff like that. I feel like the video game economy is going to burst. Not necessarily the industry, but the economy is going to burst.
I feel like some people are going to take falls here within a short amount of time. I think like EA is bleeding, Square Enix is bleeding. I'm not sure. I don't think Sony's doing that great, or at least it wasn't.
I mean, with the whole, because they're the closest of the video game consoles to actually offer something close to Steam and actually have a good digital environment for pricing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's about it. Unless I don't think I have another video. So that's just about it for this topic.
Get on it. Fix this game industry.
I mean,
you disappoint me. So just figure it out.
It's their disappointment.